if we had a 10 song set, Richard sang four, Tom sang four, and I sang two. Eventually, then Tom said, I want to be in the middle. And that was the herald of another big era. And slowly but surely, he cut Richard's songs out of the set. And he objected to Richard's theatrics on stage. He objected to my theatrics on stage, you know. Um, he wanted us to stand stock still, basically. And the coffin nail was when Richard Williams of Island Records came over and wanted to do a demo. And said, I don't know anything about the studio. Can you mind if I bring this fellow along, Brian Eno? And Brian came in with all these ideas which we nixed. I mean, stupid ideas. Like, let's glue the amps to the ceiling shit. And we were not interested in that at all. We wanted a document of the band. You don't need this crud. And I really like Brian, and he's gone on to do great work, but, this was bullshit. So, and it was the driest studio ever. The sound came out and fell on the floor. No ambience, no reverb, no nothing. But in listening to it, I could tell that Richard was just, he was not, there was no center of the band because Billy was crazy and Richard was loopy and Tom and I were trying to keep the songs going and soloing and all of the rest, and it was fabulous. But any band, when you go into the studio for the first time, you start to hear that you suck, that your bandmates suck, that you hear things you never heard before because you've been paying attention to different things. And in the demo, Richard's songs were like, getting knocked out. And he was so pissed that shortly, a little while later, he got pushed out and he quit. I thought he was like a Paul McCartney, only goofy. Like a Paul McCartney, loopy and goofy, but and the spirit, he designed all the posters. He kept us in the torn clothing. As soon as he was gone, the torn clothing went the way of the wind. You know, and another final straw was when Malcolm McLaren wanted to manage us, and we said absolutely not. And Richard really wanted us to take that offer, and the Dolls were under his auspices, and they were at the very end of their career, and they were dressed in red leather with a hammer and sickle on a big flag behind them, and it was like they went down south, and then they were in New York, and they knew they needed, so we did a split bill, 100% headliner. And Malcolm, God, really wanted a television. And I thought, look, he's a shyster. He's a con man. But we'll all be millionaires, you know. But Tom and I were walking down the street and he turned to me and he says, do you want to end up in red leather? And I said, no, Tom, I completely understand, So we turned him down. And Richard was so incensed because Malcolm would have treated him, of course, I'll tell you something that, you know, Patti Smith was signed to Arista. Patti Smith, not the band. And when television was signed to Elektra, Tom did everything in his power to have them sign him. And they said no. The band.